Can you see if it's working on your end now? That is not good. Yeah, it should be. I'm going to send everyone, hey everyone, if you are online, I am currently broadcasting, but we're just having some technical issues. So I am just sending everyone an email to everyone who is attending this webinar. Sometimes Google Hangouts is a bit tricky with these webinars. Okay, so you can see. Okay. Okay. Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. A little bit awkward. The webinar tech is a little tricky today, but I think we finally got it working, and I sent everyone here the webinar link. I'm just going to make sure I have my chat open in case anybody else cannot get in. But I am just going to send the webinar link out to everybody. If everyone can just send me a quick chat, just to see if you are able to see this YouTube video, just put it into your webinar chat. I'll put in a test chat here. Okay, perfect. So everyone can see. If feel free to just put a test message so I can make sure it's working. I'll put the YouTube video here as well, if you can see this. Is that the link you got, Will, in my email? Did you get the link in your email? The YouTube link? Okay, and it's working? Okay, so sorry about that. I'm Adina, and with Napkin Marketing, I'm really, really excited to be joining you all today. So as you can see, we're still testing out this webinar technology, but I'm really happy to meet you all virtually and chat with you all. What we'll be talking about today is creating your 2016 marketing plan. And if you haven't created your marketing plan yet, it's not too late. It's only January 7th, and I know there's many procrastinators out there like myself, who are still in the middle of their business planning or who jumped into business activities pretty soon in the year. A little bit about me and Napkin Marketing. So Napkin Marketing is a digital marketing agency. We do everything from web design and email marketing, social media, Google advertising, and SEO. So kind of the full spectrum of digital marketing. And we love to help small businesses strategize, plan, and grow and find new leads and customers. A little bit about my background. So before starting up Napkin Marketing, I'm so glad to see these chats, by the way, that you guys can see this video, since it's always the technical challenge of getting this up and going. So before starting up Napkin Marketing, I actually worked in corporate marketing for about 12 years. Worked for big companies like Rogers Media, for Canada's big Fortune 500 companies. Worked on brands like HP Canada, Rogers Media, which is sort of Canada's AT&T. worked for Yahoo Canada as their digital marketing manager, and then turned my attention to working with small business, and some of our clients are big business as well, and kind of helping them with their marketing goals. So jumping right in here, I'm going to be sharing my screen with the presentation. And what I'll be taking you through today is how to really put together a roadmap for your business, and some of the tools and strategies you can use to put together your own marketing plan. We also do offer, by the way, tell me if you can see my screen. If you want to just text on your chat, send a message on your chat if you can see my PowerPoint right now, since I don't trust the webinar technology anymore. Will, can you see the PowerPoint? Will? So feel free to send me a message on chat. Just can anyone tell me yes? Just say yes if you can see the PowerPoint. Oh no, this is what happens. I gotta stop sharing. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Sean. Yay. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to be taking you through some tools and strategies you can use for planning your business. But before I get into that, a lot of us do procrastinate. I love this slide because I think this is some of the image that comes to mind for a lot of people when you think about doing your business planning. A lot of people don't plan because they're scared of planning. And why are we scared of planning? Well, a lot of us, we don't want to plan because when we put it down on paper, then we're actually accountable for it, aren't we? So a lot of the fear of planning is your fear of failure, your fear of not sticking with your plan, or your fear of your plan not being perfect, or your execution not being perfect. And that fear that planning will stifle your creativity. Now, when I've done this presentation in front of a live audience, I've always asked them, forget about business planning for a second, but we're all just getting off the holidays. Can you just text me, say yes, or maybe say yes, raise your hand by saying yes if you've done some planning over the holidays, over where your family went on vacation. Oh no, are you not hearing audio anymore? Somebody's not hearing audio. Will, can you hear my audio? Alex, sorry about that. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's happening. I know I had to reload a page, so hopefully it's working for you. Is this happening for anybody else? I will try to continue and help you later, Alex. Sorry. So a lot of us have no issues with planning our vacation. I think you're the only one, Alex. Sorry. A lot of us have no issues planning our kids' activities, but for some reason, when it comes to our business, we get stuck. So why are we? So I think a lot of the times we get stuck because of this fear, and putting together kind of the plan for your plan, which is what this presentation is all about, is about kind of getting over that fear obstacle that we all have. So what is planning anyway? So kind of gathering up some of the best quotes I've heard in the past about planning. One from Gloria Steinem, all very different people. Just planning is without leaps of imagination or dreaming, we lose the excitement of possibilities. Dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. So sometimes we think of planning as Gantt charts and forecasts, but really it's about visioning for our business. And I think, getting back, tapping into our original vision for our business and what it can really be, and the huge potential it has, and the vision for ourselves too. So planning is dreaming. General George Patton once said, a good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan next week. So getting back to that fear of planning, sometimes a simple plan that you actually follow through on is better than trying to do the ultimate perfect plan. And then Abraham Lincoln once said, commitment is what transforms promise into reality. So planning is about really making a commitment to your business and making that commitment real. So I think that's another fear that we have, fear of commitment, even committing to ourselves. I know I'm going through that with with a crazy diet I'm trying over the holidays and with my own personal New Year's resolutions. So I think we all fear, sometimes committing to those goals and not being able to stick with them. So, and why should we plan? So basically, the advantages of planning for your business, I think a lot of us know them, but it helps you just reconnect to what your business purpose is, what your core values are. So that really, like, a lot of times we all hear about we're getting stuck working on the business, not for the business. So when you're doing your planning, you're actually you're really working on the business because you're putting together that overall vision. And figuring out your strengths and weaknesses, giving yourself action items, and making yourself aware of the marketplace, helping you zero in on who the right prospects are for you so that you're clear about what you want from your business. But then also, if you're a manager, you're able to give better direction to your employees. You're able to give better direction to your vendors and your suppliers because you know what you're looking for and what your roadmap is overall. So it makes you an effective business owner, manager, boss, everything. And then the cons of planning, again, why a lot of us fear it is because I think our paradigm of planning is very outdated. A lot of planning doesn't incorporate the fast pace of social media that you might need to do ad hoc sometimes. And a lot of times plans don't incorporate, obviously, things that you can't control. So you can have a perfect business plan, but the economy could tank. Again, this is not a reason not to do planning, but it's just some of the things you should be aware of, that a lot of times we can make a plan too elaborate and too complicated and it ends up sitting on the shelf. Or we end up getting into analysis paralysis. And who among us hasn't started doing research for their business and done started looking at 50 competitor websites and never ended up kind of putting the plan in motion. So you don't want to put together a plan that's going to sit on the shelf. You want this to be actionable. So basically, the formula we look at when we're putting together our planning model for our clients is marketing planning is a combination of market research and your marketing mix. And your marketing mix is really all of those activities that you do for your marketing, like your advertising, your budget, all of the action items, plus in combination of what we know about the marketplace. So that's how we approach marketing planning. And what I'll be taking you through today is a 6-step process of how we approach marketing planning. So I'm just gonna close the door here because I'm getting a little bit of background noise. But basically, I'll be taking you through all the steps. Step 1 is kind of evaluating where you are now with your planning. Step 2 is setting your goals, setting your marketing goals. Step 3 is evaluating your marketing options. Step 4 is scheduling. 5 is actually executing the plan. And 6 is continuous measurement. So I'll be taking you through all of those. They're not as scary as they look once you get into them, but it's a pretty comprehensive way to kind of do your marketing planning, but also actually your overall business planning for the year. And it's sort of the technique that I've picked up from working in corporate as well. So and I'll also be taking you through how we can help your planning if you need a partner to kind of put together the plan for you. I'll be giving you some options at the end of how we can help you do that. So stage one is really evaluating where you were in the business and where you are now. So taking a look at, it's hard to plan for the future unless you figure out how's your business performed to date and what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. So evaluating where you were and where you are right now. So key questions to ask yourself in this stage is number one, how much money did we make last year? How much profit did we earn? How many customers did we get? Who were my biggest customers? Who are my biggest spenders? What was my average order value? And what marketing activities did we actually do? And how many leads did each of those activities generate? So those are all just things as like these kind of questions. A lot of them are answered like the sales questions. How much money did we earn? How much profit did we earn? You want to be looking at your sales figures from the previous year. And I'm not sure how many of you have existing businesses versus starting new business. Maybe if you want to tell me in the chat if you have an existing business right now, or feel free to shout out what kind of business you have. But if you have an existing business, you want to be looking at your existing financial statements, looking at your profitability and sales, because those will be your benchmarks going forward in your planning. You want to be looking at your customer list to see who are your biggest customers, who are your biggest spenders, what's your average order value. These are all sort of your key stats that you should know about your business. Then overall, take a look at, put together a list of what are the marketing activities that you did do over the past year. How many leads did each activity create? So these are the kind of questions that you're going to be answering in the research phase. For new businesses, if you're starting a brand new business and you don't have that history, you want to be asking yourself, okay, so we don't have a past history, but how much money do we want to earn, or how much money do we need to earn to make year one profitable? How much do we need to sell to be profitable? What's our break even going to be? Who are the key customers we're going to be targeting? And who's our competition and how are they marketing themselves? That's awesome. I see you're starting your business, Alex. So these are the right questions you can be asking yourself. Looking at your competition, looking at how they're marketing themselves. How do you plan to generate leads? What are the key trends in your industry that are going to affect you? So these are all key questions you should be asking in your beginning business planning and in the research phase. And there's 3 ways you can basically gather this kind of info. So we split it into 3 types of info that you want to be gathering at this stage. So number 1 is internal information. So stuff like sales revenue, top customers and average spending, website visits. So sales revenue numbers, top customers and average spending, you should be able to get that out of your accounting software. If you are using even software like QuickBooks, FreshBooks, almost all accounting software will give you those kind of reports. You also want to be looking at your website visits. If you're not tracking website visits already, a great free tool for tracking website visits is Google Analytics, which you can install on your website, and it will track how many people are visiting your site, what are the top pages being visited, what's the time spent on your site. And again, these all become benchmarks for your future planning, because if you're getting 100 visitors a month versus 100,000, and depending on what's the next level you want to get to, you're going to have very different activities. If you want to get from 100,000 to 1 million versus 100 visitors to 1,000 visitors, that's going to be very different marketing activities to get you to those goals, right? So it's very, very important to get that base info to set the benchmarks. Social media statistics. So if you've got a Facebook page for your business, if you've got a Twitter page for your business, if you've got a LinkedIn profile, you should be able to get all kinds of statistics out of those profiles to be able to guide your planning. Again, that forms your benchmarks. And taking a look at your lead sources. So, did you go to trade shows? Are you, tracking the phone calls that come into your business? I don't know and that's, it's really important if you don't have one, is to have a basic CRM system. If you don't have a CRM system, even just tracking your leads on a spreadsheet as a base thing, but being able to track where your leads are coming from is really important. And even having a customer list and knowing the number of customer contacts and number of email addresses you have. Again, you'd be surprised how many business owners I talk to who have had a business, more than 10 years and often don't know how many contacts they have in their contact list. So again, that's like, that's your base. If your business was a baseball card or a hockey card, on the back of it, your key statistics, these should be sort of the key statistics on your business that you should know about. The second group of information is external primary information. So this is primary statistics that you can be gathering from a customer survey, from talking to people in your industry, even people in your Facebook groups and in your LinkedIn groups for your industry. So why it's primary research? Because you're getting the research firsthand from your customers or from industry colleagues. So it's primary research. Secondary research, again, there's a wealth of secondary research out there in terms of getting competitor research. One place we look at a lot for competitor research is I'm showing, oops, and I'm switching over to a website now. Let's see. I'm trying to find show you a website called SEMrush, but let me see if I can get to that website and then share it with you. So this is a website called SEMrush, and you can basically put in any competitor's URL into SEMrush, and it will give you a wealth of data on that company. I don't know if any of you have heard of SEMrush, but it'll tell you, some of who's linking to their website, what are the top keywords they're ranking on in Google. And this is all really, really important to know, so that when you're looking at doing your own planning for your own search engine optimization, you want to know what keywords your competitors are ranking for, so that you could try to target those same keywords. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint here. So hopefully you guys can all see my PowerPoint. Will, can you see my PowerPoint? Text me yes if you can. Sorry guys, this is actually my first webinar, I have to admit. So that's why there's a few little SEMrush. Yeah, that's SEMrush.com. So that's another great way to collect competitor info. You can also get a ton of industry research if you through Google AdWords. So you could basically, anybody can open up a Google AdWords account. It's free. So when you have a Google AdWords account, you can actually get keyword reports. And again, we can also help you with that. But basically, you can look up for, let's say you're advertising. If anybody feels like sharing what kind of business they're starting right now, feel free, and I can give you some examples of keywords. But let's say you're starting, a law business, and you're a divorce lawyer. I don't know why. Don't ask me why I picked that example. There's nothing personal going on, I swear. But basically, you want to be looking, let's say you want to know how many searches there are in your city for divorce lawyer or for real estate agents. So, how many people are searching for, condominiums Toronto or condominiums in a certain neighborhood of your city. You can actually look that up in Google AdWords. It'll tell you how many searches there are for that terminology and how much it costs to advertise for that keyword. So Google AdWords, great place to research. Also economic research. I know here in Canada, we've got Stats Canada. I know in the US, they've got the US Census Bureau, publishes reams and reams of data that you can look up on your industry and on your market that you might not have had, the official data that you might not have recently. And as well, there's websites like eMarketer, for example. There's also, The Economist, tons of info online about different industry segments, different customer segments. Internal research examples. So again, I'm just going to give you some quick examples of different reports you can get when you're doing that research phase. And you're going to use these reports to create a budget and forecast. So that's why it's so instrumental to your planning. So very quick example of just a P&L statement I've got. Here, I'm just going to hide this. So typical P&L statement, it'll tell you what your revenues, your cost of goods sold, your operating expenses, and of course your bottom line profit. And the questions you want to be asking yourself when you're looking at your P&Ls and for your planning is, how much did I make? Am I profitable? Pretty simple, right? But a lot of businesses don't look at these statements till it's tax time, and then it's not as relevant for their planning. You're in planning mode at the beginning of the year or at the beginning of your financial year. And where you're going to get this info is your accounting software, QuickBooks, FreshBooks, Excel. I really highly recommend, if you don't have a bookkeeper, get a bookkeeper, because they can help you keep track of this info and keep it organized so that you have a good financial picture of your business. And what are you going to do with this info? So the next step of what you want to do with all of that financial info is you want to use it to create a sales forecast. So one of the best things I did in my business planning is creating a sales forecast and creating a budget. And there's different approaches to creating a sales forecast, but the basic way, depending on your business, if you're selling products or you're selling your time or you're selling projects, you're probably going to have different kinds of streams of revenue. But the basic sales forecast is you want to determine what's the average price of the services that you're selling, or if it's a product, the prices of the products, and approximately how many of that product you're going to be selling throughout the year. So this is kind of a fairly basic model of, let's say you're a consultant, you've got a project that costs $10,000, $15,000, $30,000, and you've got your projections throughout the year of how many projects you're going to sell that year. Or you have reoccurring revenue. So you might have clients that pay you for a monthly service. For example, you might have clients that pay you $500 a month. You might have clients that hopefully pay you $4,000 a month. By the way, this is a totally arbitrary forecast about an imaginary business. Some people asked us, are these your typical prices? So no, it'd be great if I had a lot of $4,000 a month clients. But no, these aren't our typical fees. This is just kind of an arbitrary model. But this is basically a model for how you can calculate reoccurring revenue as opposed to one-time revenue. So the top part of this chart shows you how you can forecast one-time revenue, basically the price times the quantity per month. Reoccurring revenue, you would have a calculation here. And by the way, as a free gift for everyone who comes to my first webcast today, I'll be giving you this spreadsheet as a link at the end. You can actually forecast your reoccurring revenue. So at the end of within the spreadsheet, you'll be able to see what you can expect or what you can forecast in terms of your sales for the year, in terms of your reoccurring revenue, and in terms of your one-time revenue. And that's really important to know, because it gives you a picture. It gives you your goals, your financial goals, and it gives you an idea of how much you need to sell to make that total at the end of the year. Now, mind you, this doesn't incorporate profitability. So profitability is a whole other thing. But if let's say you know that you need to sell, 50 projects a year to make $300,000, you're going to take that into consideration in every decision you make, and you can actually break that out per day and say, okay, for me to make, and I'm pulling numbers out of the sky again, but for me to make $300,000 per year, I need to make $300 per day. So I bet that's going to probably reduce the number of days where you're researching on Google and Facebook about various topics, because you've got that pressure, you've got that fire under your butt that you've got to make that daily target or that annual target, or else you're not going to hit your profitability goals for the year. Another really, really important report to look at, and again, this is more for existing businesses, but as your businesses gets up and going, you should be able to get that out of your CRM software. We use a CRM software called Prophet. It's Prophet. I'm going to type it in the chat in case you didn't catch it. It's a really simple one, but basically lets us track our leads by source. So we're able to see, where our leads came from a trade show, whether it's from our website, and who to follow up with. And this just gives you an idea of this is our Google Analytics. So if you want to be looking at another piece of research you should want to be looking at is your web traffic. So your Google Analytics, as I mentioned, it'll tell you how many visits you got, how many pages were viewed, how much time someone spent on your website. Again, another really important thing to look at to set your benchmarks. And another thing to look at with your Google Analytics is, where's your traffic actually coming from? So with Google Analytics, you can actually break down your traffic by source. So you can see how much of your traffic is coming from Google, how much from Yahoo, how much from Facebook. So again, really, really important for your planning. And that kind of covers, I think I pretty much covered these, but that's your external and primary and secondary research, just recapping that. So that kind of finishes off the research phase. And I know it sounds like a lot, but it gives you, getting that overall picture is really important to the next stage of the planning, which is creating your vision and goals. And a lot of times when we talk about vision, it sounds very fluffy and airy-fairy, but I think it's really important because it gives you that connection to, what do you really want this business to be, and what do you want your life to be working in that business? So questions to ask yourself in this phase is, what's my vision for this business? Is this business still heading to the same stage as where I started it from? Who's my exact target market? What's my positioning? And how do I plan my marketing campaigns? So diving into this is just a quick exercise you can do to kind of put together the vision statement. A lot of times companies have a hard time coming up with that vision statement. So this is just a little formula I found on executestrategy.net. Give them the credit, but basically it's 4 steps. Is step 1, what's your output? Step 2, what's the twist? So what's your little differentiator? Step 3, make it quantifiable. And step 4, make it human. So a bakery vision statement is producing and selling locally sourced cakes and pies that are so delicious and satisfying that every customer who leaves our store does so with a smile. So that's something that they could write. Yeah, picture it as something you can put on your wall in your business, and every day that's your overall mission and goal. So hope that makes sense. Is something you can customize for your business, and you want to make it you want it to have the twist, and the emotional appeal is really important, because it's got to be something that that gives you that oomph, that gives you that emotional motivation. Whenever you look at it, you've got to be like, yeah, this is why I'm here. And I know a big part of our vision with Napkin Marketing is helping businesses grow, and putting, helping businesses grow quantifiably and reach their goals. So I know that's what brings me into the office every day. Another thing when you're putting your goals together is putting together a customer persona. So usually when I'm working with clients, one of the first questions I ask them is, what are your goals and who's your target market? And I hear so many business owners saying, well, our target, especially at the beginning of their business, I hear saying, my target market is everyone. Pretty much anyone would want my products. So I'm like, really, anyone? And then you dig deeper and you find out they make optical lenses, and it's really not everyone. It's really opticians in the Toronto area. So it's good to think about your target market. And a lot of times you'll think, okay, my target market is residents in this particular city of this particular age. But when Fortune 500 companies look at their target market, they want to figure out, how do I advertise to this person? How do I connect with this person and make my advertising relevant and resonant with them? So they look at everything from the films and TV shows that they watch, to the online games they play, to their hobbies, to the websites they look at and the clothing they buy. And this is important to know, even if your business is a business-to-business business. It's good to know, why do we want to know all these things? Or, and these are probably pretty difficult things for the average person to know about their target customers. A lot of these are going to be pretty assumptive, but, we want to know what kind of websites they're tuning into, or what kind of Facebook pages they're going on, so that when you think about advertising to that person, you can determine the websites and magazines and Facebook pages and targeting criteria that really attract that kind of customer. So that's why it's interesting to put together a customer persona. And then you kind of, what you're really doing is you're honing in on what we call their media habits. So what kind of, what media they're consuming. So from websites to social media to TV and radio to print, and, brand preferences, that kind of thing. So when you're researching your target market, things to look at it's a consumer-based business, is geography, age and income, gender, what family stage they are, and again, media habits I touched upon, and psychographic, if you can get that info. And sometimes you can find surveys, when we say psychographic info, is your product for someone who's conservative or liberal? Is it for someone who's a leader or a follower? So depending on what kind of product you have, it's important to know what's the mindset of your customers. when you're looking at your B2B market, you want to be looking at things like what industry they're in, what's their job title, what's the size of their company, how often are they going to buy, and again, media habits, what industry magazines or websites they're looking at, what LinkedIn groups do they belong to. So, and how many decision makers do they have to go through before a buying decision is made? So that's the kind of stuff you look at when you're researching your B2B market. And where do you find this info? Again, Statistics Canada or the US Census Bureau. Industry associations are really great. And media tracking studies. So companies like Nielsen, Comscore, and Vironics, they're all in the business of tracking consumer data and consumer statistics. So a lot of times if you look up eMarketer as well, you look up Google these companies or follow them and follow the news releases they put out. There's really, really interesting data that you can pick up that can apply for your consumer. Another great place to get info on customers is actually media kits for magazines. So let's say, for example, your target customers, I've got client and their target customer is accountants. So let's say I'm selling accounting software, my target market is accountants. A great place to look up info about accountants is a media kit. And what a media kit is if you've ever tried to advertise in a magazine or tried to advertise on a website, a lot of times when you're contacting the salesperson or the publisher, ask them for the media kit, because their media kit tends to have a lot of statistics about their readership. So if you're trying to advertise to accountants, go find an accounting magazine or find the trade magazine, get the media kit for that magazine, because a lot of times that media kit will say things like, our average reader makes $100,000 a year, or our average reader makes purchase decisions on these types of products, which is amazing info for you to know as a business owner if you're producing those kind of products. And marketing positioning, again, this is another tool in the tool case, but figuring out where you are in terms of relative to your competitors. This is a marketing positioning access showing, low price chocolates, price versus quality on chocolate brands, right? So by the way, if you ever want to get me chocolates, get me the Lindt chocolates. Those are my favorite chocolates, which I can't have right now on my crazy diet. But I love Lindt because they're high quality. They're also a little bit higher price, definitely higher price than the M&Ms and the Kit Kats that I give to my kids on Halloween. So again, you want to know, this won't be a perfect chart, but you want to know where you are maybe in relation to your competitors in terms of marketing positioning. Are you a Lindt or are you an M&M? So, and basically from getting all of this info, you're able now to kind of start putting together a marketing strategy. And what is a marketing strategy? So a marketing strategy is really the basket or the series of baskets that all of your marketing activities will fall into. So 3 approaches to doing a marketing strategy. You could go the seasonal approach. So you could have, here's what I'm doing for my New Year's promotion, my Mother's Day promotion, my back to school and my Christmas promotion. A lot of retailers take a seasonal approach with their marketing strategy. You could take a target marketing approach. So you could say, okay, I'm going to go after these 3 main niches with my marketing strategy. I'm going to go after doctors, lawyers, and the education sector. Or you could look at it as, I'm going to go after 3 big goals this year. I'm going to be retaining existing customers, winning new customers, and I'm going to launch my business in the US. So that's kind of 3 approaches you could take. There's other ones too. But a lot of businesses tend to do this seasonal approach simply because you can kind of put it into a calendar year. Sorry, I'm flipping around slides now. And this is just sort of an example of a corporate style marketing strategy, how a corporation might approach it. So when we were when I was working in corporate, when we were putting together our marketing strategies, we would look at things like, okay, how much revenue do we want to deliver for the year? How much awareness do we want? So by awareness could be measured in the number of web visits you get, how many UVs stands for unique visitors. So how many visitors do you want to get to your website? So our goals in marketing when we were doing corporate was the revenue we delivered, the number of page views we delivered to our website, and also the number of leads we delivered to the salespeople. So as you can see, UV stands for unique visitors, PV stands for page views. So give yourself a goal, maybe in terms of revenue, page views of your website, and unique visitors of your website. Those are 3 great metrics to keep track of. And then your overall vision could be basically, where do you want to see your business a year from now? So it's great to put together a statement such as, I'm going to be Canada's #1, for example, if you're a media company, you could want to be Canada's #1 destination for consumer and advertising needs, #1 website. And how are we going to get there? Well, we're going to increase the number of users on our website. We're going to reinvigorate our brand. We're going to be contributing to our business globally, and we're going to attract advertisers. Now, again, this is very big corporate vision. And then the marketing objectives boil down to what are these are the marketing strategies you would implement. So leveraging a product launch, conquering a geographic area, expanding a certain product, and establishing leadership in some areas. So again, you would customize this completely to your business. But just to give you an idea of how a corporation might put together their, the vision part relates to kind of their overall business vision. The marketing objectives relates to what they're going to do in marketing to produce that vision. So think of it in terms of big picture, where you want to be with your business, who do you want to be, what do you want to be known for, what customer groups do you want to attract, and the marketing objectives is what you're going to do in your marketing to achieve that. So that's basically putting together your goals. Part 3 is, I got your message, Alex, thanks, is reviewing your options. So this is kind of the interesting part, because we have so many marketing options now, from Google AdWords to Facebook advertising to Twitter and Pinterest. It's really hard to know where to start. So questions to ask yourself when you're reviewing your marketing options is, how many people do I need to reach to actually make a sale? So so when we're in advertising, we talk about first impressions, then leads, then sales. So the impressions is how many eyeballs have to be on your ad in order for it to reach a certain amount of people, so that if enough people click, you would get leads out of that. So for example, let's say I'm putting together an ad on Facebook. And out of that advertising campaign, I want to get 5 customers. So that ad will get potentially, let's say it gets potentially 50,000 impressions, which means it was viewed 50,000 times on Facebook, which seems like a lot. But remember, impressions have to turn into leads. Impressions have to turn into clicks, then they have to turn into leads. So for example, from those impressions, you might get 500 clicks, right? And out of those clicks, those are 500 people that clicked and hopefully visited your website. And out of those clicks, their next step might be filling in a form. It might be calling you, might be emailing you. And from that stage, they become a lead. So you want to kind of go through those steps and think about how many impressions do I need to get to make a sale? How many leads and clicks do I need to get? And then where should I advertise to reach these people? How much will it cost? And what's the best return on investment for my marketing dollar? So that's kind of the outbound advertising side. On the inbound advertising side, you want to ask yourself, what can I do to improve my site to make it stickier, to make it convert better? What kind of content do I need to create to attract the right customer? So we'll be going through some of the steps to do that. So a lot of people ask me, like, what are typical advertising costs? So it really depends where you advertise and to whom. So these are just some typical advertising costs you can expect. For example, on Google AdWords, these are from actual campaigns we ran. So we were running one campaign for about $1,900 a month. And remember, you can run a Google AdWords campaign from $100 a month. But for example, for that kind of spend, we were getting 170,000 impressions. And from that, we got 300 clicks. Now, some advertisers might get, 1,000 clicks out of that. Some advertisers might get 30 clicks out of that. It all depends what you're advertising, what your ad is, what your ad copy is, what the competition's like. And we were paying about $6 per click. So that's just very random choice but some of the advertising costs you can expect on a Google campaign. Your mileage may vary. LinkedIn sponsored posts tend to be a little more affordable. So for example, $1,500 campaign we did on LinkedIn sponsored posts, we got 128,000 impressions, 439 clicks, and we were paying $3.37 a click. Facebook ads I found to be very, very cost efficient. So for a Facebook ad campaign we did, $567 were spent. We got 86,000 impressions, 815 clicks, and we were spending only 70 cents a click. Now, some other traditional forms of advertising, you're paying more of a flat fee. So for example, you might be paying $850 for a small ad in a trade magazine. You might be paying $2,000 for a small ad on a major website. And then you have, you got trade shows. So you might pay $250 or $2,500 or $5,000 sometimes for a trade show table. And then you just calculate your cost per lead based on, the number of business cards you got out of that trade show. So mileage varies really greatly when it comes to advertising costs. But, when you're looking at different advertising options, if you've done your homework in step 2, you know who you're going after, and you can kind of review your advertising options from there, and then you're able to put together a marketing budget and say, okay, I'm going to spend this amount on my marketing agency. If you need an agency to help you design, write, strategize the ads, I'm gonna spend this amount on my public relations. I'm gonna spend this amount on my actual advertising costs. So a lot of people don't separate out their agency costs and their actual advertising fees to Google, Facebook, etc. And don't forget some of the other services you might need: research, writing, agency costs, email service fees for companies like MailChimp, your actual staff time, and there's also the opportunity costs, even if you don't hire outside design firms or agencies. When you put together marketing campaigns that aren't done professionally, there's the opportunity cost if that fails. And then there's also things like press release services, web design, SEO costs, programming costs. Make sure you look at all of that when you're putting together your marketing budget, because a lot of costs tend to creep in there that are unexpected. And again, another way to make, speaking of making your site sticky, we looked at how to advertise outside your site. A lot of times you can improve your actual site, and you can attract a lot of visitors that way. So with ourselves, we tend to get a lot of leads out of our blog. So for example, we blog about what we want customers to find us for. So we get a lot of people, I get a lot of people calling me for email marketing services because we've blogged about our email marketing services. So that's why I always advise people blog about what you want to attract people for with your business. So if you're a daycare, you want to be blogging about, you know, the best daycare in Vaughan, because that's what people are Googling. So the goal here is advertise for what your customers are reading and visiting, blog about what your customers are thinking about. So, and dig deep in there. So if you're a daycare, you might be thinking, typical parent is searching for best daycare in Vaughan, but they're not only searching for that. Maybe they're thinking about a daycare versus getting a nanny. So you might want to blog about nanny costs on your daycare blog, right? So not conventional, but make the connection about what your customer's really thinking about. Or if you're a chiropractor, your customer might be searching for a chiropractor in Thornhill, but they're probably also searching on back pain. So blogging about back pain will attract that customer. You know, again, going back to our divorce lawyer example, you would typically think, a divorce lawyer would typically think their customer is searching on family law and they want to rank high on family law in Google, but their competitor is also going to be going after that term. So, you know, a non-conventional thing they could be blogging about to attract those customers is visitation rights for a cheating spouse, right? Super specific, but that's what people Google. Or child support payments, and writing a blog about this topic, you know, will help you attract those customers. So that's kind of a good, you know, gives you a strategy for how to review your options when it comes to your advertising options. And basically your checklist is what you want to do at the end of the stage is decide where you're going to advertise, develop your marketing budget, and review your site for improving conversion. At the next step, this step's a little shorter, but we're actually at this stage, you should look at making a marketing calendar. So things to ask yourself when you're about to make your marketing calendar is, when do I schedule all of these different marketing activities? And how do I want to spread out my marketing budget? Am I going to run out of money to advertise at key times in the year? A lot of people put their marketing plan together around key trade shows. You know, when is it really crucial to advertise? And when is it safe to go dark, which means you're not advertising anywhere? So here's just an example of that you could look at as a marketing budget. This is just a budget we put together last year for our own marketing activities. And we kind of planned out, you know, our website development, our social media, our email marketing, our content marketing, trade shows, email marketing plan, and so forth. So that's a model you could look at. Another place to do your marketing calendar is we use Hootsuite for our social media planning. So Hootsuite, you can actually schedule out your Facebook posts, your LinkedIn posts, your Twitter posts. It's another great place to do your marketing calendar. And email marketing automation. This is a whole topic in itself, but you can actually schedule out emails to go out at certain times. That can be done in MailChimp, that can be done in Infusionsoft. We're also a MailChimp expert. So let me know if you want to learn more about that. But that's a good place to do your marketing planning, is think about what emails you want to go out throughout the year, so you're not scrambling to do them at the last minute. So when you're done this stage, some of the key things that you might want to have in place is, if you're not ready to do a whole 12-month plan, make a 30-day plan or make a 60 or a 90-day plan. So again, going back to that General Patton quote, it's better than no plan. Make a marketing, doing a 30 to 60-day time horizon is also a great place to start. Think about what blog posts and social media content you want to put out there. And then research and book in your trade shows and events that you want to be at throughout the year. And then if you want to go get more advanced, you can look at setting up marketing automation and email automation. Step 5 is actually executing. So you would think that this section should be really short, but questions to ask yourself as you're executing is, it's going to be that day-to-day stuff. How do I organize my day? What are my biggest priorities? What do I need training in to really do this successfully? Or what do my staff need training in? Or who do I need to bring in as a partner to handle this part of it because I'm swamped with other stuff? So one of the biggest things that we do for our own project management is we use a tool called Asana. I'm just going to put it in the chat here so you guys know what I'm talking about. There's also other ones called Teamwork, and there's Basecamp, but basically using an online project management system. Even if you're just working by yourself, and definitely if you're working with a team of people, just keeping track of all the tasks you need to do for your business and in your marketing will really help you be successful. And how do you know when you've done this stage correctly? Well, basically your campaigns are running, your events are running, your staff knows what they're doing. And then if you're at the advanced stage, you're using online project management systems. So step 6, we've kind of reaching the end of our planning journey, but measuring our performance. So again, if you want your marketing campaigns to be successful and constantly optimized, we want to also be measuring our results on a regular basis. So questions to ask ourselves in this phase is, how, again, going back to sales, how did we do with our sales? Which campaigns are converting and performing the best? What processes or people do we need to do the marketing that we can't do right now? So, hey, you might have thought at the beginning of doing your planning, I really want to do Google AdWords, and you might start doing it yourself and get stuck on, get caught in the details, and at some stage, decide that you want to be outsourcing this part of the process. So thinking about what you can outsource, what you want to do yourself, and how can you do even better next year. So numbers to track when you're tracking your performance, similar to the beginning, your monthly profit and loss, your advertising performance by, again, going back to your Google Analytics, looking at your web traffic and conversions, and when you can look in your Google Analytics and see what brought you the most traffic, what advertising brought you the most traffic. If you are working with a marketing agency or a partner, I know we provide regular reports for our clients, giving them the metrics of how their advertising campaign is performing, how many impressions they're getting, how many leads they're getting, if the leads are trackable, so they know exactly what return on investment they're getting with their marketing. And then for social media, knowing your social engagement numbers. So how many Facebook likes you're getting, how many shares you're getting, and how many followers you're getting. And for email campaigns, you want to be looking at things like what's your open rate for your emails? What are your click-throughs for your emails? So knowing what kind of numbers you're getting for that. So how do we know we're done that phase? Well, we're reviewing our campaign results, we're tracking our leads and conversions, and we're working our learning into the next plan. So basically, kind of getting back to that formula is that marketing planning. We've taken marketing research, a lot of marketing research, and in terms of our own info and outside info, and also looking at the mix of activities we need to do to achieve our goals. So, and putting that together and putting it into a marketing plan. So again, going back to do not fear, I've put together a very, very probably elaborate and comprehensive plan for going from my corporate experience. But even if you do, I think 60% of this, 50% of this, 30% of this, I think it will give you some structure and give you a roadmap for your business. And again, for most businesses, planning doesn't have to be something you have to be afraid of. The decisions you make can mostly be undone. You're not Toyota, you're not planning a multi-billion-dollar factory and hiring 500 people. You know, don't be afraid to undo decisions or rethink them, or you know, vary from your plan, because that's what it's all about. And I recommend for most small businesses looking at a 60-day planning horizon. If you've never really done formal planning before, it's just a lot more digestible and it lets you react faster to your business environment. And then again, if you're not ready to take this all on yourself and it seems a bit overwhelming right now, we actually do offer a service called the Mini Marketing Plan, and you can go on our page. I think the URL is on the next slide. We do a mini marketing plan from just $495. I'll tell you more about that in a second. And we also do more comprehensive, large scope 12-month plans that include the full calendar, the full budget, from about $1,500 and up for full scale marketing and business plans. So just to tell you a little bit about the mini marketing plan service and what it includes, and we've done this actually for a lot of clients now, and it's a really popular service. So what it typically is we have an initial meeting with you. It's called a 60-minute discovery, and we figure out what's happening in your business, what are you doing, what's working for you right now, where have you advertised in the past, who are your target customers, and what have you been doing now that's working and what's not working. And then we actually put together a written, customized plan for you, which includes, you know, kind of a concise version of your business goals, a competitor review. So part of that process that we get out of the discovery is we figure out who are your key competitors. We actually go on their website, look up all their keywords that they're ranking for, and give you tips for your own website, social media, and advertising based on what we've seen in the competitors. We also critique your website and social media. So we take a deep dive into your website, into your Facebook page. If you don't have social media and we think you should be on certain social media platforms, we give you that information and feedback. And we give you some marketing plan recommendations. So we usually outline 3 to 5 key strategies that you think that you should be taking action on to advertise and promote your business. And with this plan, we also give you a rough, not a full budget, like a 12-month budget, but we tell you what are the typical advertising costs and reach for the recommendations that we'll give you. And then we also give you a list of your target SEO keywords. So the search engine words that you want to be ranking for, that are really important for any future blogging we do. We always include blogging. We always recommend blogging as part of the marketing plan. And once the plan is put together, we do a 1-hour consultation with you where we present the plan and just kind of talk you through it, walk you through all of the suggestions. And you can learn more about this on our, let me take you to this website, and there's just a little form you can fill out. If you want to learn more about that, we're happy to help you with that. And there's just a little more information about what that includes on that page. So, and then overall, if you're already at this stage where you know what you want or you have specific projects that you need done, we also do everything from web design, designing responsive sites. Our own responsive site is launching soon, by the way. We're a MailChimp expert, so we do email marketing. We're also a Google AdWords partner, so we can develop full Google AdWords campaigns, help you with your search engine ranking and your social media management. And we also do traditional print design, brochures, print ads, and campaigns, but strategy comes first, and that's what this presentation was all about. So you can find, you know, a designer to put together a little ad for you or to put together a web page, but you know, you want to talk to someone who understands your business strategy, or you want to understand it yourself so that you can lead the charge on it. So that's where we kind of that's where our wheelhouse is. And I'd love to connect with you further if you want to talk about anything else we can do to help your business. So I'm going to see if I can go back to the broadcast thing now. So I'm back. So thanks for joining me again on our very first webcast. I was like shaking in my boots before I started this, so I'm really glad we did this, and I'm looking forward to your feedback. And feel free to send me positive, negative feedback. I'd love to know how to keep making this better and better. Of course, we have to figure out our webinar technology. And yeah, again, thanks again, guys. I'm really excited to talk with you all in person and connect with you after the webinar. And thanks again for joining. Feel free to talk to you soon. Feel free to connect, and I'll talk to you all soon. I'm actually sorry. Can you tell it's my first webinar? I wanted to do a little bit of Q&A. If anyone's stuck around, feel free to text me your questions in the chat. I don't know if any of you had questions about the planning. I know some people had to go early, or feel free to email me at adina@napkinmarketing.com afterwards. But then again, thanks again for joining, and look forward to connecting with you. Take care. And don't see any more questions in the chat, so I'm going to probably end our broadcast. Thanks again.